Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. It's Allan Laboucan with the Rocks and Stocks News Show. I think that gold is a coiled spring that's just looking for an excuse to take off from here. I think it's pretty oversold right now, and basically the real torque is in the gold mining stocks because they're even more significantly oversold. I'm seeing valuations that are tremendously low right now. And so I think the big torque is in those kind of companies. And the ones that have the potential to significantly outperform are those that are drilling right now or have pending assay results. And I follow a pretty significant group, and I'm going to talk about those today. So let's get started. And I'm just going to do a screen share here. Just bear with me a second. There you go. Athena Gold is in the Walker Lane trend of Western Nevada. What I like about this project is that they are looking for oxide gold. And to put it into context, a lot of oxide gold deposits these days are being mined profitably in Nevada at a 0.5 gram or 3/4 of a gram kind of stuff. And what makes this project particularly exciting is that they have hit orders of magnitude higher grade than a lot of the mines in Nevada. You got over, I think the highest grade was 15 grams per ton of gold. So it's a very high grade oxide project. And why I think it has size potential is that there's two key faults going east to west, one to the north and one to the south. And it covers a pretty large area. And in between those two faults is an altered zone. And that alteration is very important because when the gold-bearing fluids make their way up to surface, they chemically alter the ground, and you can see a very large alteration zone. And they drilled in the middle of it where they hit this high-grade gold. And then they've gone in with a new program that's underway right now that is significantly extending to the to east and west of those high-grade hits. You know, when you see a big alteration halo like that, and you've got these high grades in the drilling, it's a pretty good sign that you've got a big system. And a big system with oxide gold at very high grades is an attractive asset, yet the company has a very minimal valuation. And so, you know, this is a kind of company that's coming from a very low base and drilling on an oxide target that I'm very excited about. And I hope to hear some news from that fairly soon. And yeah, there you go. That's the Athena Gold story. Arizona Silver has an epithermal vein system that I think could be quite exceptional. And why I think it could be quite exceptional is that most of their drilling has been close to surface, and most of their holes have hit quartz breccia. Now, when you're above the boiling zone of an epithermal vein system, you're going to get this mixing of the quartz with the breccia, and breccia is a broken up rock. And so when you cut that, you're going to get mixing of you send it all in, and it can't distinguish between the quartz and the breccia. And so you get this diluted grade, but even in that diluted grade portion of an epithermal vein system, they're getting very high results. Look at that on their website there, 51 grams per ton of gold and 16 grams per ton of silver, 18.2 grams per ton of gold, 46 grams of silver. And so above the boiling zone, you know you're above the boiling zone because you're in the quartz breccia. And this is quite exceptional. They shouldn't really be getting that kind of grade above the boiling zone. Usually those kind of grades are in the boiling zone. And I have said this to people, and I truly believe it, that what they're looking for is something that could be world class. And when you talk about world class epithermal veins, the biggest one is the Hishikari mine in Japan. That was just spectacularly high grade. And I don't make that comment lightly, because that's the best of the best. But when you see these kind of grades that they've hit in the breccia, quartz breccia, that tells you that there's a hell of a potential below that to hit very high grades when you get into the boiling zone of the epithermal vein. I don't think they're very far from that boiling zone. They're probably, a couple hundred meters more at depth. And recently they drilled a hole that was one of their deeper holes, and then they followed that up with another hole that is even deeper. And so that is what you need to do to sort of tap into that boiling zone below the quartz breccia. And that second hole is pending now. So I'm very optimistic about this project. I love epithermal vein systems because they can be tremendously high grade and low cost to mine. Some of the ones that I follow very closely is the Las Chispas mine of Silvercrest. They're mining silver at $11.85 all in sustaining costs, and they're selling it for over $20 an ounce. So you got a very high margin there, and that's why they've been able to, in their first quarter of full commercial production, pay down 95% of their debt while also building up their cash position. And that's just indicative of the kind of things, when you find a special epithermal vein system, what you can find in those kind of systems. And then Mag Silver also has an epithermal vein system with spectacularly low costs and very high profit margins. As that company was moving into full commercial production in the ramp up phase, they were making so much free cash flow in ramp up that to finish the ramping up, the joint venture is 51% for Fresnel PLC and 49% for Mag Silver. And it's so profitable that Mag Silver didn't have to send any money down to Mexico. It was free cash flowing enough to pay for the getting it into full commercial production. So that's just indicative of what you find when you get a special epithermal vein system. This one's very high in gold, high grade gold. And I think that they have the potential. Now, I'm not saying they have another Hishikari, but they have the potential of finding something that as they drill deeper and they find the boiling zone of the epithermal vein, you'll know that's the case when they start talking about, continuous intersections of quartz, not quartz breccia. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to their results from this deep hole that they're doing, and take a look at Arizona Silver. BlackRock Silver is also drilling right now in Nevada on their Silver Cloud project. I'm very excited about Silver Cloud because last year they hit the boiling zone of an epithermal vein system, and it returns 70 grams of gold and over 600 grams of silver. That without a doubt is not in quartz breccia. That's quartz. That's epithermal vein system, and that's in the boiling zone of an epithermal vein system. And so now they're drilling to expand on that known zone and also look at some other targets. In fact, they had if you follow them on Twitter, they recently had a nice picture out of their drill core at night. It was very cool to see. I really think that they're on to something special at their Northwest Canyon area of the Silver Cloud project. And it's in a really important area for these epithermal veins. The Midas mine, which was sort of the company maker or starter of Franco-Nevada back a few decades ago, is not very far to their north. And to their east is the Hollister mine, which was another epithermal vein system with very high grade. So they're in the elephant country for epithermal veins. An important breakthrough in an epithermal vein is when you hit the some call it the bonanza zone. It's technically known as the boiling zone. But why it gets that name bonanza zone is because you get these phenomenally high grades that you can mine at very low costs and have cash making machines of mines. And so when they hit that boiling zone, it's very exciting. And yet the stock is trading near its 52-week low. And so I'm very excited to hear more updates from the drilling that's ongoing right now at Silver Cloud, and more drilling to expand that zone, the boiling zone area, and look for other targets. When you find an epithermal vein, you usually always find a cluster there. And so when you find a cluster and you know where to look for the boiling zone based on the one you already have, it's quite an exciting time for the exploration of an epithermal vein system. I think they've got a special one at Silver Cloud, and I'm looking forward to seeing more news from that drilling that they're doing right now. Canadian Gold Corp, company that kind of gone through a transition. They were called Satori, and then Rob McEwen vended in a bunch of projects to Satori and became a very large shareholder of Satori. I think it's about 38% or something like that. And then his cohort, Ian Ball, they worked together at Gold Corp. And when they were, working on the finding and mining of gold, the Red Lake mine in Gold Corp, it turned Gold Corp into the lowest cost producer in the business and one of the best performing stocks under their tenure. And now they've got this Tartan project that was part of Satori, and they funded the exploration. And what it really has me excited is you can see all these underground workings here. And then you can see the high-grade continuity. And above this line is where the historical resource was prior to 2017. But they had drilled a couple holes down here. And this is what really impresses me about this project. So you look at the grade thickness here. So this is the metal factor, a function of multiplying the grams per ton by the thickness of the intersection. And as you can see here, you can see these purples that are, fairly small. The red is also very good. So that's what they were mining in there. But look at down here, this purple area and the red surrounding it. This is that's 23 grams per ton of gold over 12.6 meters. And also over here in this red area, 9.7 grams over 4.15. And even up in here, you've got 6.9 grams over 5 meters. But when you see this kind of mineralization in an orogenic gold system, you get very excited. And the fact that there's only been a couple holes down in here to test that, and you get this spectacular high grade, this didn't happen by accident. And what I think you're going to see as they drill deeper, that they have the potential to show something very spectacular here. And that's the nature of these orogenic gold systems. They're related to big crustal cracks in the earth that are the conduit that the gold-bearing fluids make their way up, and they can go down for 3,000-4,000 meters. And in fact, at the Red Lake mine, they had to go down 1,000 meters before they started to get into the highest grade or bonanza grades, and then that continued for another 1,000 meters. So that's just indicative of the kind of systems these orogenic golds, or the kind of mineralization these orogenic gold systems can produce. And when you get, you know, 3/4 of an ounce of gold over 12.6 meters, that's not suggesting a small or fluky intersection. That is indicative that you've got a much bigger system lying below here, and they're drilling into that as we speak. And so I'm very optimistic about that program. And here's a little tighter shot of it. And look at right there. That's pretty spectacular stuff. Only a couple holes into that main zone there, that deeper zone, and drilling to expand on it is very exciting. So take a look at that. Dynasty Gold has the Thundercloud project in near Dryden, Ontario, and I'm very excited about this project. It is what looks like it has the potential of being an orogenic gold system. And as you know, important parts of an orogenic gold system are you need to be in the greenstone belts, which there is one near Dryden. And on this project, you also need the faulting, because that's the conduit. These deep cracks in the earth are the conduit that the metals bearing fluids in an orogenic system use as a path of least resistance to make their way towards surface. On the northern end of the project, you've got one fault, and then you've got another one that comes right through the middle of the project, which is in pretty close proximity to where they hit some exceptional results last year, late last year, reported earlier this year. Included in that is a intersection of 246 grams per ton of gold. They also have shown a 51-meter intersection of 8.42 grams per ton of gold. And so this is a robust orogenic gold system that they've pretty much drilled only near surface down to a couple hundred meters of vertical depth. And so they're gearing up right now to get drilling on that Thundercloud project. And this could be a very exciting, I think it's going to prove to be a very exciting project. You know, these orogenic gold systems, when you get the right one, and it looks like they have, because near surface, they've already tagged into those spectacular grades that you see in an orogenic gold system, 1.5 meters at 246 grams of gold. They also had a 3-meter intersection that was included in a 3-meter intersection of 151 grams per ton of gold. And then you get these 50-meter intersections of over 1/4 of an ounce per ton of gold. This is suggestive of a very powerful orogenic gold system that's wide open at depth. And I'm really excited to hear more about the drilling that's going to happen for the company here fairly soon. Yeah, there you go. That's the Dynasty Gold Thundercloud story. And I'm very optimistic about it. And yeah, do your homework on Dynasty Gold. Next company up is Fokus Mining. And what I like about Fokus Mining is, as you can see here, there's lots of drilling in this GP zone with very good grades. The reds are 1 gram per ton of gold. And for an open pit target, that's a pretty handsome grade these days. But what I would point out is that you look over here, this is the top of the Hendrick zone. Each one of these boxes is 500 meters across. So you got 500, 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, let's say 2,500 meters of strike extent, with lots of that high grade gold for an open pit type target. and they're drilling right now, and I think they've got a great chance to extend this. And even when I look at it, you could put a pit shell into this area right here, only down, let's say 250 meters from surface. This is a pretty significant potential pit shell right here. And then it's open at depth. And, one has to ask, well, where did all this gold mineralization come from? You've got indications that the zones are all going in this direction, lots of evidence. And so the depth potential still remains wide open, but, drilling this at surface, you don't need to drill a lot of deep holes to extend, and it certainly looks like they can extend it in here, maybe over in here some more. This is wide open. It's around this herd zone, not a lot of drilling. So if you put this kind of density of drilling over here, you've got very significant expansion potential, because you've got very good distribution of your of the gold over here and over here. So yeah, I think that this near surface target is wide open, and I also think the depth potential is wide open, and they're drilling right now. This project's in Quebec. It's in a very well-known belt for big deposits. And I think they've got something that could have both grade and size potential for an open pit target. And again, the depth potential is wide open. So I'm very excited about the drilling that's happening for Fokus right now. And I'm quite optimistic that they're going to be able to deliver a lot of really good news off that program. Galantis Gold is an orogenic gold system that I'm very excited about, this OMA project in Ireland. Now, I know a little bit about Ireland because I picked one company there that was Dalradian, that was at about 25 cents, and I picked it very early in their success. And I'm seeing a lot of parallels to Dalradian. It's about 20 kilometers from Dalradian's project, and it's an orogenic gold system. Their near surface drilling has hit a series of zones. The best known ones are the Kearney and the Joshua veins, but they also have other veins around it, and they're all tightly packed into a close proximity. So what this tells me is that there is likely one source of all that near surface mineralization in an orogenic gold system. Now, these orogenic gold systems, you need crustal faults that are the conduit that the high-grade gold makes its way from much deeper. And they have one of those in close proximity to this series of zones. And another thing that helps, so you really need to get deeper into these to get closer to the boiling zone, the heat engine of this system. And you know that they're in the top portion of it because most of their gold is fine grained. And the way that these go is, as you get deeper, you get into more coarse gold. So a key factor in these orogenic gold systems is drilling deeper. Now, in their particular orogenic gold system, they have these dilation zones where the cracks open up in the veins. And it's those dilation zones that are important for mining, which they've engaged a contract miner that's going to go down there, and that is important for mining. But it's also important for exploration, because these dilation zones give you an indication of where to follow things deeper. And they all are pointing towards that crustal fault that is the likely conduit for all of this gold mineralization in their various different zones. And so they have quite a spectacular project on their Oma project, which is high-grade gold. But then they've also got this new Galantas project, which is a VMS project in Scotland. And, you know, a lot of these European countries didn't see a lot of exploration for many, many years because, you know, the reason that it's starting to open up quite significantly is that I think that, you know, we've gone through a long period of outsourcing where, you know, the developed countries outsourced manufacturing of a lot of products into China and India and other countries that have very low wages. But having outsourcing mining is not a very smart thing because you need those products to, you need those raw materials to build products. So if you're sending outsourcing everything, you're going to be in trouble when you need to have more closeology to your production of products. And so a lot of these countries in Europe are realizing that, and they're opening up their mining potential. And that's what got Galantis to go into a well-known VMS area that's underexplored. And they've shown some core pictures from the drilling, and it looks like they're hitting some nice sulfides there. And that's what you need in a volcanogenic massive sulfide target. And so they've got kind of a great situation on their orogenic gold system and a emerging potentially great situation on their VMS project. So Galantis Gold has a lot going for it. And do your homework on Oma and Gerlach projects. All righty. Next up is Goliath. Goliath has what I think is the most important and exciting new discovery in the Golden Triangle of Canada. And that's saying a lot because, you know, there's a lot of great mines in, actually, I'm going to halt this. Let me get back here. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can stop this. Sorry about that. So recently they announced that they've hit visible gold in multiple holes over 1.5 kilometers and discovered new strongly mineralized 6.5 kilometer trend containing multiple shear zones in the Golden Triangle. So this Golden Triangle of British Columbia is very well known for very big and high grade deposits. And there's a lot of exploration that goes on there. And what happened was Goliath went into that area and they started to look at projects where the glaciers were receding and exposing new rock that had never been seen before. And at their Sherbet zone, they started drilling into it and they hit very good grades. They've got and high percentage of hits of gold in their drilling. They hit at a rate of 97%. So that tells you a couple things. It tells you that their geologists have very good understanding of the geology. It also tells you that there is excellent continuity to the what they're hitting. And thirdly, it tells you that that it's predictable. And so they're doing a bunch of drill holes right now, and they're hitting visible gold. What really excites me about this project is you can see a fault here, you can see a fault here, and there's another fault here. And they had spent most of their time drilling around these two features and this outcropping sherbet zone, okay? Then they started to come on the other side of this fault and hit some excellent grades, including this visible gold that they've been hitting. They got visible gold over here. They got visible gold over here. That's 1.5 kilometers. That's pretty exciting stuff. You could fit several million ounces of gold in there. And this area is really emerging. But what really has me excited is if you follow this northeastern fault, it comes it crosses paths with these other two faults over here. And then you look at the mineralization and you've got stacked sheets of gold with an average grade of 6 grams per ton of gold, over 6 grams per ton of gold, and over 6 meters of intersection in these stacked sheets of mineralization. And so they had the Colorado School of Mines do a study, and they're talking about the potential that there is a feeder deeper that is the potential source of all of this gold mineralization. In fact, they believe that this feeder could be the heat engine for the entire region. And they're finding some signs that they could have more sherbet zones several kilometers away. And if it's all related to the same heat engine, that is phenomenal. And these are the reasons that I think that Goliath has one of the most important and exciting exploration projects in the entire Golden Triangle. I think they're going to deliver a lot of great news this year. They're drilling a bunch of holes. I think it's what is it? 3 out of 5 holes that have been completed have hit visible gold. I think they're doing about 18,000 meters or something like that. Here you can see some of the visible gold, some of the other zones that they're excited about. Read the news release and you'll see they're doing a really big drill program, and they're testing for the extension of mineralization at Sherbet and this potential Golden Gate feeder zone. I actually think that this is part of a deeper zone that is related to the intersection of all 3 of these zones. And if that's the case, because of this vertical relief on the side of a mountain, they probably don't have to go real deep, and they get the benefit of going down the mountain to drill deeper. So it's not like you have a flat surface up here and you got to drill these massively deep holes to get down to the potential feeder. So there you go. That's the Goliath story. And now we're going to talk about i-80 Gold. They've had a few important news releases. May 20, or I think it was late June, they got accepted, or they started trading on the Russell 3000 and the Russell microcap indexes. These are indexes that follow smaller companies, you know, smaller in the sense that, you know, when you compare it to the big companies on Wall Street, you know, they're an $800 million valuation company as i-80 Gold. But I think they've got the assets to turn them into a multi-billion-dollar company. One of their key assets is this, the Ruby Hill area, and they received the permits to drill a bunch of holes in this area, and it basically, they took over Paycore, and they've got basically, well, not basically, this is where they've hit the bonanza grade CRD with very high grades of silver, lead, zinc, and an overprint of high grade gold. I would point out these blue lines here because these are the key structures that the CRD mineralization uses as a path of least resistance. And you can see all of this network here that's underexplored, and now they've got the permits to go after this in a big way. But you've got a special CRD here, bonanza grade CRD here, and you've also got a bonanza grade CRD down here, and then you've got this network of faulting. Now, part of the reason that this hadn't been explored is there's cover, veneer of cover over this that doesn't expose the bedrock, and so it went a lot without exploration for a long time. But you've got this network of faulting here, and here you've got a skarn deposit. Over here you've got a Carlin gold deposit that looks quite spectacular. And again, you've got all this faulting that is important for the mineralization, and they're always drilling and always putting out a lot of good news. It's been a while since they had any their assay results from this Bonanza CRD area, but they could be putting out results at any time and consistently putting out results from here till the end of this year and probably the end of next year. I-80 Gold puts out a lot of great news, and I think that trend will continue. Puma Exploration is a new sponsor that's got a project that has me very excited. They don't really know yet what kind of a system it is, but it sure has the hallmarks of an orogenic gold system to me. You've got the right old rocks, you've got faulting, you've got geophysics, but the big thing is the high-grade mineralization. And what you can see here are a series of stacked zones. And, you know, look at the continuity along strike, and as you follow them deeper, and they're wide open to expand. And so most of their drilling has been confined to the first 100 meters where they found all of this high-grade mineralization. Now they're drilling another 100 meters deeper, and I think you're going to see these trends continue at depth. And that's a very exciting situation for no matter what kind of gold system it is, because they've hit a lot of high grade. You can see in the highlights here, 35 grams, 121 grams, 370 grams, 5.5 grams of over 50 meters. 13 grams over 7.15 meters. And again, all of this is contained within the first 100 meters. And you're looking at a pretty significant distribution. And also exciting is you look down here, and here's the link zone. And then you've got all of these other gold occurrences right at the edge of this geophysical anomaly. So what the geophysics is telling you is you've got a contact there between two rock packages, and you've got the mineralization in the link zone, and then you've got all kinds of, there's only a couple meters of cover here, so they can strip that down and see the bedrock, and they've got veins, quartz veins popping up all over here, and they sample those and look at the grades. So what's exciting about the extension along strike, well, actually in both directions, is that they can actually see the veins from stripping away the soil. And so this gives them an orientation of the direction of those veins. So it helps to their predictability of where to drill for success. They've got the main target is the expanding that link zone down deeper, but then they're also going to drill along here to look for more strike of that network or stacked zones of high-grade gold mineralization. They've got gold all over the place in this system, and that's why they think that they are looking at a camp, not just one or two isolated deposits, but multiple deposits that potentially could be mined. And with so much gold mineralization, and you've got the structures here that tells you, you've got geophysics that are showing you where to go. And then they've got all these surface exposures where they've sampled the actual veins popping out in the bedrock. This is quite a spectacular project, and I'm really pumped about the drilling that is underway right now, and what they're focusing on doing. I'm excited about that depth potential of the link zone, and also the potential to keep following it for more strike of that network of zones that have excellent continuity, not just excellent continuity at depth, but along strike. That's a hell of a combination, and they're drilling for that right now. And so there you go. That's the Puma story. So almost all of the companies that I talked about today are sponsors of my reports. The only one that's not is Canadian Gold Corp. All the rest are. Just so you understand, my sponsors paid me a fee, and that enables me to do all the homework that I do on these companies and provide a lot of content about the work that they're doing and really advocate what they're doing and for them and also for the sector and other companies that aren't sponsors of my work. And so I'm really appreciative of that, but you know, I don't do these reports to move the valuation or affect the stock valuation. I do them because to understand the companies is the most important thing to me, because I believe that, you know, investors that are well informed about the companies that they're investing in tend to do their investing based on logic, not on emotions. And a lot of investors and emotions get whipsawed a lot. They get excited when it's going up. They buy when it's going up. They get depressed when it comes off from them. And you always have fluctuations in stock prices. And so they buy on the highs, they sell on the lows, and they get whipsawed constantly. But the big success stories, not just in the mining, but in any sector, is really those that are well informed. My shows are for information purposes only. They're not, it's important for you to speak with your financial advisors to assess whether any company I talk about is something that meets your risk profile. And again, I'm going to reiterate that I think you should do your homework to understand these companies. I mean to be part of that homework, but only a part of that homework. I do interviews with management. I do these sector reports, and you can find the work on YouTube at Rocks and Stocks News or on Substack at rocksandstocks.substack.com. But your homework should also include going to their websites, checking out their news releases, checking out their maps and their drill hole locations, and looking at their corporate presentations and calling the companies up. You'd be surprised how eager these companies are to tell their stories to investors. And so I think all of that should be part of your homework. On that note, have a great day, and we will talk to you soon.